The Hightowers in House of the Dragon are elite, pompous and conniving, and they refuse to carry a hairbrush. About 170 years later, they are ruled by a reclusive old lord locked away in the High Tower itself, poring over books of spells with his eldest daughter, the mysterious Mad Maid. All while Euron's fleet descends upon Old Town, ready to unleash apocalyptic destruction. We saw this in Season 6 of Game of Thrones when oh wait, no we didn't. In fact, we only met one Hightower during the entirety of Game of Thrones, Sir Gerald the White Bull. You know that cool, handsome Kingsguard fighting with two swords at the Tower of Joy during Bran's vision? Yeah, well, who's the other guy? So just where are the Hightowers in Game of Thrones, and what magical mayhem could they be up to? Welcome to Fantasy Haven, your home for all things fantasy. This video will contain no spoilers for the future of Hot D. Let's dive right into it. The Hightowers started off as petty kings who invaded during the Dawn Age. They were descended from the First Men, or perhaps even the men who came before them. The pre-First Men? The Zero Men? I don't know. But they founded what is now known as Old Town. Before the High Tower itself was even built, this royal dynasty lived in a black stone fortress on Battle Isle. Oily black stone is scattered throughout the history and geography of this world, as far as the buildings of Ashai by the Shadow, and as close as the Seastone Chair of the Iron Islands. Oh, sorry, did I say Seastone Chair? I meant
Salt Throne!
Who came up with Salt Throne? Anyway, the Black Stone is linked to all sorts of Lovecraftian imagery, so who knows, maybe the Hightowers were descended from a bunch of eldritch fish people. Yeah, book theories can get kind of weird sometimes. Let's move the timeline forwards, shall we? Only myths and monuments survive the Age of Heroes, which saw the legendary King Garth Greenhand single-handedly create half the houses in the Reach. God damn, man, keep it in your breeches. You're like a mythical Walder Frey.
I'll find another.
Anyway, one of his daughters was Maris the Maid, a woman so beautiful that 50 simps got together and created the first ever tournament for her hand in marriage. She married a king named Uthor, not because he won the tournament, but because he had the biggest tower. The highest tower, in fact, designed by none other than Bran the Builder, who also built the wall. Their children were the princes Oregon and Peramore Hightower. Peramore the Twisted was a sickly man with an unnecessarily rude nickname, who surrounded himself with scholars, healers, priests, sorcerers, and all other kinds of nerds. Every Saturday he'd meet up with them to DM a session of Dungeons and Dragons. Wait, no. Peramore passed away, and his brother Oregon, who was now king, gave his friends their own tract of land, which birthed the Citadel and the Order of Maesters. Onwards we go. Their forebear Garth Greenhand also sired House Gardener, whose members had no issue attacking their cousins in Old Town. The constant attacks saw the city walls and towers becoming higher and stronger. One Hightower king called Lymond the Sea Lion defeated the Ironborn army of Theon Greyjoy. No, not that one. And used the captured raiders to strengthen the city walls. Forced labour? What forced labour? Finally, a marriage pact was forged between King Lymond Hightower and King Garland Gardner II. The pact was between them, not the marriage itself. Although, I don't know, I hear they do some crazy shit in the Reach. Nobody tell Tywin.
Perhaps Highgarden has a high tolerance?
No, they married each other's daughters. The Hightowers became powerful lords within the Reach. When the Andals invaded Westeros, House Hightower traded pleasantries and goods instead of insults and swords. They wisely accepted the faith of the Seven, building the Starry Sept as the centre of the faith, and making Old Town the home of the High Septon. So they went from being petty kings under siege to powerful lords ruling Westeros' nexus of trade, religion, and academia. The Lord of the Hightower was the voice of Old Town, Lord of the Port, Defender of the Citadel, Beacon of the South.
This is Jon Snow.
And then the Targaryens invaded. When Aegon and his sister wives invaded Westeros, Lord Manfred Hightower looked at their 3 giant dragons and thought, Fuck. He refused to join King Mern Gardner IX in marching against the Targaryens. And you know what that means. It means that at least 9 kings thought it was a good idea to name their son Mern, what the hell. But more importantly, it means that the Hightowers were spared from burning on the field of fire. Lord Manfred opened his gates like, "Oh, Aegon, right? Yeah, I've supported you all the time, bro. Big fan of your work. Field of fire? You kidding me? Best battle I've ever heard of. Yeah, so, please don't kill me." Manfred's daughter eventually became the first wife of Prince Maegor Targaryen, later known as King Maegor the Cruel. Unsurprisingly, she died under mysterious circumstances. Perhaps this is one of the reasons Otto keeps comparing Daemon to Maegor. In House of the Dragon, we're introduced to 4 members of this dynasty. The, why is he getting high tower? The, oh, she's kinda shy tower? The, shit, did he just die tower? And the, wait, which one is this guy tower? Otto is a smug, scheming bastard, pretty much identical to how he's portrayed in Fire and Blood, except he's got more drip. Alicent is a lot different. In the book, she's Rhaenyra's cold, bitchy stepmother who plays a dominant role in the Green Coup and genuinely fears for her children's lives. In the show, she's an anxious victim exploited by the men around her and reluctantly joins the coup after misinterpreting Viserys' final words. If you want to hear my general thoughts about her character, check out this video. Otto's brother has no name or personality in Fire and Blood, but in Hot D he's this arrogant prick called Hobart, who looks down upon his younger siblings. The guy that Daemon utterly annihilates in the tourney is Sir Gawain Hightower, Otto's eldest son. In the book, he's an officer in the City Watch. By the end of the season, the ambition of the Hightowers to place their blood on the Iron Throne sees the realm on the cusp of a civil war. But like I said, no spoilers. Why have spoilers when you can have sponsors? Introducing Ottoble. For just 3 small counterballs a month, you can subscribe and listen to Otto Hightower's smug, dulcet tones. Do you want to hear him spit some bars?
The gods have yet to make a man who lacks the patience for absolute power, Your Grace.
Or perhaps you want to listen to some ASMR.
My apologies, Your Grace.
Or maybe you want to hear something a little more sensual.
You look so much like your mother in certain lights.
If you don't want to sign up to Ottoble, feel free to like, subscribe and comment for more content. It really helps me grow this channel and this community. You can hit the bell to get video notifications, and I also have a Twitter that I need to use more. Anyway, thanks for all the support. Although we don't see any Hightowers in the present day of the show, they do have a role to play in the books. Lord Leighton Hightower rules Oldtown, and he's not descended that famous tower in over a decade. At the start of the War of the Five Kings, he follows the Tyrells and supports King Renly against Joffrey and Stannis. When Renly is assassinated and the Tyrells side with the Lannisters, the Hightowers follow suit. Are you sensing a bit of a pattern here? After the Battle of the Blackwater, Lord Leighton is gifted small plots of land from the defeated as a reward for his loyalty. The Hightowers have remained a powerful house with numerous vassals. Serving them are House Mullendore, House Bolwer, House Costain, House Kai, and House Beesbury.
Dear me.
We actually met a member of House Kai in Season 2.
You'll die for this!
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Sir Aemon Kai serves on Renly's Kingsguard, which in the books is known as the Rainbow Guard. And no, I'm not joking. After Renly is assassinated, Sir Aemon is slain by a rageful Loras. In the show, he's killed by Brienne, for some reason. And we all know about House Beesbury. Rest in peace, Lord Lyman. He left us with dignity and grace. Also, holy shit, Beesbury's literally directly sworn to the Hightowers and he still stood up against their plotting. What a lad. Lord Leighton has been a busy man with 4 wives, 9 children, and gods know how many grandchildren. His eldest son is the handsome Sir Baelor Brightsmile, a possible suitor for Elia Martell before she married Prince Rhaegar, until he farted in front of her and Oberyn nicknamed him Baelor Breakwind. Baelor, more like Bastelor. Then there's Sir Garth Greysteel, Sir Gunthor, and the young Sir Humphrey. His eldest daughter is the unmarried Melora, known as the Mad Maid. Then there's Lady Allery, who's married to Lord Tyrell, Mace the Ace himself. That's right, Loras and Margaery are actually half Hightower. In the books, Mace and Allery have older children as well, Willis and Sir Garland. But back to the Hightowers. There's Lady Layla, married to Sir John Cups, and Lady Denise, married to Sir Desmond Redwine. Lord Hightower's youngest daughter is the infamous Lady Lynesse. We know her as Jorah's second wife. Although she's half his age, the widow Jorah declared her to be his Queen of Love and Beauty after winning the tourney of Lannisport, which was held to celebrate victory over the Greyjoy Rebellion. She later became his wife and drove him into financial ruin. Jorah sold poachers into slavery to make money and was forced to flee into exile. He lived as a sellsword in Lys until one day Lynesse abandoned him for the wealthy merchant prince Tregar Ormolan. Look, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but this series of events of course leads to Jorah spying on Daenerys for a free ticket home, before wholeheartedly joining her cause. Just to clarify, Lynesse Hightower is described as having pale skin and golden hair. Sounds kinda familiar, Jorah. But what is to come for this ancient wealthy house in the Winds of Winter? The Ironborn are attacking the Reach, led by the recently elected King Euron Greyjoy, the Crow's Eye.
Big cock.
No, not that one. Yeah, that's more like it. This madman has gobbled up a juicy chunk of Arbor with some shield islands on the side, but now he's moving on to the main course, Oldtown. Sir Baelor is building ships to bolster the Hightower fleet. Sir Garth is training new troops in Oldtown, while Sir Gunthor is commanding the defences of the Oldtown harbour. The young Sir Humphrey is sailing to the city of Lys to hire mercenary ships. Perhaps Tregar Ormolan can help. Lady Lynesse Hightower has become the merchant prince's chief concubine, and it's said that even his wife is afraid of her. Leighton and Melora the Mad Maid are rifling through spellbooks in the Hightower to cast spells or defend against them. 3 separate characters have had prophetic visions about waves, towers and krakens, all pointing towards the upcoming Battle of Blood. Then the towers by the sea, crumbling as the dark tide came sweeping over them, rising from the depths. Only their shadows. One most of all, a tall and twisted thing with 1 black eye and 10 long arms, sailing on a sea of blood. He saw the long ships of the Ironborn adrift and burning on a boiling blood-red sea. He saw his brother on the Iron Throne again, but Euron was no longer human. He seemed more squid than man, a monster fathered by a kraken of the deep, his face a mass of writhing tentacles. Old Town may be a red herring, with his targets being elsewhere, or perhaps the proud ancient city will be raided, its fleet dragged beneath the crimson waves, its citadel burned to the ground, and its high tower set to sink into a sea of blood. While their fate may be tied to Euron, the Velaryons have their fate tied to King Stannis Baratheon, which you can learn more about here. What do you think will happen to House Hightower in the Winds of Winter? Do you wish they'd been included in the show, or was it a good decision to remove them? Let me know in the comments, and thanks again for liking and subscribing. We're building up a pretty fun community here. See you next time.